I'm going to do a video on the Haloview cameras that I have. I had it on my last camper, and when I upgraded to my new camper, this KZ Connect behind me, I took the cameras off with the intention of putting them on this camper because I really liked what it gave me while I was driving. I had two side cameras that were always on, and the rear view camera, which was always on. That way, when I was driving down the road, I would be able to see everything that's around the camper. If I'm changing lanes or someone's following too close and such. So just to be aware as I'm stopping or changing lanes and such. And so as I went to put it on this camper, I hit a roadblock. So it would be easy. And the first thing I realized is that this is a really small spot. The marker light, they even put it up and down so that they have the room for it. And when you try and use the same, first of all, I would have a hole above and below because of the screws that are already in there, right? But also it's too long. Even if I moved it as far as I could, it would still get in the way of the door. And the hole behind this thing, which I took off and saw, is about 1 inch wide, would not be behind where it needs to be for these cables. And so I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I came to an idea, is to mount it above without putting any holes other than the screw holes. And what I'll do to get it powered is that I'm going to put a hole right on the sidewall of this right here, and a hole in the sidewall of the cover for this guy as well, and then route the cables potentially through here, or make this hole a little bit bigger, and route the cables through there so that I can connect it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole into the side of this marker in the middle here, and so that I can fish this cable up in behind it. All right, so just drill a small pilot hole in here, and then go ahead with that. I'm going to go with a 1/4 inch hole. All right, that one's done. And then now that I have my pilot hole, I can go ahead and do this 1/4 inch without any issues of breaking the plastic. I think that'll give me enough room to go ahead and fish the cable through. As you can see, I was able to fish the cables through there. This fit nicely in the slot that was already there. I made a hole right there, 1/4 inch, and I was able to fit all the cables. There was an existing water hole already. That's going to stay there. It's not going to really interfere with that. And that way I can do that. The next step is to take this cable with the cap on. I'm going to drill a hole on the sidewall so that the cables eventually will come out like this. And so now I'm going to mark where I want to make the holes. I put the covers back onto the marker lights so I can see exactly where I'm going to put the holes that I can fish the cables through. So here's one thing I didn't expect is I either had to fish the cables through there or just make a slot on that. I think I'm just going to make a slot on this so that I can take the cover on and off easily without having to deal with, well, I would have to, because otherwise I'd have to unplug cables to fish them in and out each time I take this cover off. So, all right, so I just used the same drill bit to groove and a slit instead of a hole on the cap. And this still has a little bit of a circle on the top, which is nice because it'll keep the cables from popping out each time I take the cap off, if I need to take it off to clean it. But everything fits nicely, and you can see how nice and tight it actually came out. There should be no interference with the lights. Okay, so the next step is to mark the camera where it's going to go. For that, I went ahead and got a small level. This is a cheapo one, but it'll do the job. And I got a dry erase marker. Now, I recommend you try on a spot that you don't care about your dry erase marker if you're going to use that on your camper. I like it because it'll make the mark that I need, but then I can wipe it off real easy. So it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. They're just the camera's a pretty wide angle, so you'll get a good picture regardless. But before I put the camera up there, I'm going ahead and going to drill a hole into these, into the existing light. I don't want to cut the cable yet, but I will drill a hole into the existing light so that I don't have the camera in the way when I'm trying to do that. All right, so I'm just about done here. I didn't have to go get the saw. I'm just cleaning up the edges just to make sure there's no sharp corners that's going to nick those cables. Even though it is plastic, it can still cut into the cables over time with the vibration of the movements and such. So this one's ready to go. And so I'll just snap it back on, make sure there's no issues there. So it snaps on, that's not coming anywhere. All right, so my next task is to drill a hole here on the side of this plastic, not affecting the board and being careful not to touch, not to nick the cables that are inside. Well, so I'm going to go ahead and clip them one at a time, and you don't want to cause any shorts. And then I'm just going to take this. I did pull it aside just to make sure there's nothing else in there, and so I'm just going to drill through that. I'm going to drill through it on this side so I can observe what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead right now and I'm going to mount the camera so that I don't have to, since the cable is already managed through it, that way I don't have to deal with the weight of this device as I'm trying to put everything together. Now I'm just using the drill to start the hole, but I'm not drilling it all the way because I don't want to strip it. This is going into some pretty flimsy material. Not really flimsy, but it's not like wood. It's not going to grab. And so I want to make sure to take the torque down, which I didn't, and then also not drill it all the way and tighten the rest by hand. Okay, so I realized after I put it on that although the cap will fit under there once it's secured, I cannot get the cap underneath at first. So I'm going to have to take this top one off a little bit, loosen it, put the cap on, and then I'll put everything back together. All right, then there it is, said and done. And to be extra careful, I put plenty of silicone back there. It's an outdoor poly silicone meant for gutters and flashing and things like that. So I figured it'd be good to put on here. It said it adheres to fiberglass and other materials, including aluminum and such. So I put plenty in there just to avoid water going down those cables and into the, although there is the outlet in, or the little spout there, or a hole where the water comes out if the water was to get in there. I just didn't want it tracing back through the cables into the camper wall itself. I went ahead and hooked up a fuse to the camper, and so lights are working now, and that means the camera is working. So that's it, folks. That's how I overcame the roadblock that I had when mounting my Haloview cameras. Stay tuned for the next video on how I used the pre-wiring and the mounting kit for the Furrion cameras to mount my Haloview rear view camera. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, or please like and follow.